We're revving up the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This round, MotoAmerica Superbikes at Barber from Birmingham, Alabama. It's Barber Motorsports Park, setting the stage for Junior Cup Round 2, race number 1. I'm Craig White, sitting in the booth with Jason Pridmore. Hannah Lopel will be here in a moment. But Jason, we've already had our first round, and as we take a look at the highlights, it was entertaining 2 races we've had. In the 99, Avery Dreyer was the star.
It was definitely the coming out party for Avery Dreyer. As you see it, as you said, Greg, you see him go up underneath Rossi Moore here. He'd go on to win race 1, and then he'd come right back the next day and back that up with this race 2 victory. As you can see, we had a big fight at the front, as we do in this class very, very often. We've been wondering who is going to step up, and it was this young man on the 99, Avery Dreyer, who did the double in Atlanta.
So the question is, can he get it done? Road Atlanta, a completely different racetrack from Barber Motorsports Park. So Jay, why don't we take a look at this racetrack and tell us why it's so different from the last track we were at.
This place is so great, Greg. You're still going to see close racing as you see these guys go down into turn 1. It's a blind left-hander that you can't see the apex. Turn 2, up over turn 4, wide open all the way into the heavy braking area. Turn 5, a lot of passing be going on down there. They head off towards Museum Corner. You see turn 8, they'll jump over a curving through that, and then it's a fast back straightaway that's lined with spectators over there in the woods, Greg. Fast left, right, get up over the top of the bridge into the long right-hand turn. You see 14, 15, 16, and then onto that front straightaway out of that left-hander.
Celebrating 20 years of racing here at Barber Motorsports Park. Hey, how about this kid? He finished second twice at Road Atlanta. Max Van looking for a win this time.
Absolutely stunning views of Barber Motorsports Park, courtesy of our Lucas Oil helicopter. What great shot that is. The big building in the center top of your screen is the Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum. It is stunning. And then the facility itself here, and what a venue it is. A track designed primarily for motorcycle racing, and Roger, it shows.
It really is. I mean, this is a track you hear all the riders talking about how much they love it, and you know the elevation is what makes it so fun. All the blind corners, and you have to be precise, and you know it's just you can't really describe the feeling of going into a corner over 100 mile an hour that you can't see on the other side. You know, and it's just an awesome track up and down, but also a really physical track as well.
There's lots of little nuance to it on top of it. This would be I think, well-defined as a very technical track, but it's one with a lot of flow to it. It's not just tight corners. And
it's one of the tracks, too, that, you know, if you haven't ever been here, it makes it a little bit tricky trying to learn because of all the blind and up and down, and through this little hairpin here is also a really fun corner. And, you know, this is really, this little straightaway here for the Junior Cup bikes, I think, you'll see some drafting on some of the bigger bikes. It's not long enough, but I think you'll see the Junior Cup guys be able to draft and make some passes into here in turn 8.
All right, well, folks, Junior Cup coming your way. Over 30 entries. This class is blowing up, and there's a reason. It's a star factory. Back to Greg and Jason.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Bikes on track as we get ready for this race. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Avery Dreyer, your 2-race winner on pole, Jay.
Yeah, and then DeMario and Bicknest with Max Van there in 4th. Levi Batty and Chase Black a little further back on these next 2 rows. David Roth, Yanda Medina, Ivan Rivera. Rossi Moore, Jaden Fernandez, and Chris Clark. And we have Chris Elliott, Aiden Sneed, Trenton Keese, Jake Van Dahl, Jediah Cumberbatch, all the way from Bermuda. Logan Kennison there also, Logan Monk, Carson King, Gabriela Lewis, Charles Separano, Isaac Woodworth. Missed Nikki there, but Nikki's back there too. Ryan Barber, Jonathan Hollingsworth, Dylan Singh, Landon Smith, Jasmine Nichols, and Alyssa Gendron back on row 10. So big field for us. Really
massive field. 30 riders taking the grid for Junior Cup race number 1. An 11-lap affair. It's scheduled for 11 laps. It's been a very interesting time here, switching our time of the year from early fall to basically this time of year here in spring. But we'll talk about that in a second. Racers are ready to go. You can see the lights are red. When they go off, we're going racing. And so we're away. Look like our pole sitter set the front wheel in the air, but it doesn't look like it hurt him too bad. The 99 of Avery Dreyer could lead us into turn number 1, and he does.
Yeah, you're right, Greg. He did get a wheelie there, but it didn't really seem to bother him too much. I was looking at Max Van there in fourth. He got a good jump from the second row as well. All our riders made it through turn one safely. As you can see him funnel down through two over this little crest. This is wide open, fourth gear. DeMario moving up onto the back there of Avery Dreyer as they come down to the braking zone into turn 5 for the first time.
So the 99 is Avery Dreyer. The 70 is DeMario. Alessandro. You want to look for the 69 of Hayden Bickneys. Max Van is the 48. 71 in 5th place is Levy Batty. Looking for Batty, but Avery Dreyer right now, Jason, is looking smooth on that Bad Boys Racing Kawasaki Ninja 400. A field almost exclusively with the Kawasaki Ninja 400, barring 2 riders. Aiden Sneed on the Yamaha R3. And of course, Rossi Moore on the KTM RC390.
Well, Avery Dreyer's dropping the hammer here on the first lap, and isn't it amazing when you see somebody go do the double like he did in Atlanta, how much confidence he probably rolled into Birmingham here at Barber Motorsports, and he's done a nice job. As you can see now, the chasing pack is now starting to get up behind him. I ran into Max Van earlier, and he said to me that he felt there were going to be 7 riders at the front of this, and right now we have a breakaway of about 5, don't we? You can see a little gap starting to develop there between 5th and 6th.
Still nicely strung along as we make our way to the start-finish line to get our first timing and scoring loop done. You can see the grid from the aerial support provided by Lucas Oil, our helicopter. What a great shot we have here in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, and you can see DeMario had a good last couple of sectors there and was able to draw up on the back of Dreyer. But Dreyer had a really good start from that front row and is starting to stretch this field out. Those top 5 now have definitely made a break. You'll see Max Van here in a minute along with Yandel Medina. They'll start to close up on the back. Again, what a great shot you can see from overhead. And you can see the different lines that the riders are taking. Look at them spread out down there at the bottom for 6th place as they went down into Charlotte's Web. Lines are a little bit different than you'll see on some of the bigger bikes later. You can see the Junior Cup bikes will run out real wide on the exits, trying to keep that corner speed up the maximum they can. Even out of here, Greg, this is the museum corner. They'll go up over this curbing and watch how wide of an exit they'll use compared to some of the races that we'll see here this weekend on some of the other motorcycles.
If this is the first time you're watching MotoAmerica Junior Cup, these are the smallest displacement motorcycles we race here at the National Championship. 400, 300cc range, and also the minimum requirement is 14 years old. It caps out at 25. So this class is designed to showcase young rider talent, the future of the sport. As Dreyer, DeMario, Bickneys, Max Van all starting to break away. And then we notch back to Levy Batty, the 71, as riders start going all over the place. Rossi Moore is in the battle, Fernandez, Clark,
man, that
Rivera, Chase Black.
Group. Glad we're not out there, Greg. And you see DeMario makes that move down to that last corner. Just straight lined that, didn't he?
Certainly did. So the 70 of DeMario on the Altus Motorsports Kawasaki Ninja 400 takes it for the moment, and looks like the 69 going up the inside, JP.
Yeah, Bickneys does the business there as well. So just that little bit of the way DeMario went into that last corner, was able to get himself up the inside of Dreyer there, moved him out, and allowed Bickneys to take his normal line, get a run down that front straightaway. Now Bickneys wants a shot at leading this race as he rolls around the outside of DeMario. It's going to put him down on the inside as they come into Charlotte's Web, Greg, and I think he's going to take that spot.
So Hayden Bickneys to the front spot, and we have a nice group of 5 as we welcome in the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa. Hannah, how's it going?
It's going, Greg. The race is well underway. And talking about Avery Dreyer, last year we only saw him get 1 podium. Last round, he got his first 2 wins consecutively. I asked him what made the difference for you this season. He said he's trying some different lines than he used to try. He is a bit of a veteran in the class now, if you will, despite still being very young. But he's also working with Dale Quarterly. So Dale built the bike, and he's been debriefing after every session with Dale. And the combination of all of these factors is really what has contributed to his early success this season.
Yeah, and you talk about Avery Dreyer, 16 years old, Jason. And this is the thing that we really look at in the Junior Cup class is not only how fast you go as the 70 goes up the inside and takes over the lead, but it's the maturation of these young riders to be able to communicate what's going on with their motorcycles to tell people that are helping them out.
Well, even more importantly is if you get somebody around you that can draw that information out of you, they can actually help you get to the setup a lot easier. And when you see all the kids that we have up front right now are all kids that we have seen in the past year or 2. Max Van is the one to me that I think will kind of sit back there, watch what's going on. He knows it's a long race. He told me also, he said, Jay, he's like, I think if everybody just kind of keeps our nose clean at the beginning, we can have a breakaway. And he's exactly right. All 5 of these riders, all the passes have been really nicely done, so it's not slowed them up, and they've continued to pull away by almost a full second over that next big group.
What's been very interesting here this time of year at Barber Motorsports Park is another pass for the lead is getting set up as we head down the hill into turn number 5 and 6, Charlotte's Web, with our great aerial support provided by Lucas Oil Helicopter. Jay, we normally come here after a summer of this track baking in the Alabama heat, and then we come in right at the beginning of fall. Now we've just gone through a winter and we're here in early spring, and it's caught a lot of teams by surprise. There's a lot of cold tearing that's happening on these tires. No fault of Dunlop, it's just the way that the track is. And so as you can see on the track right now, there's a little bit of sun that's poking through the clouds. And this really, in the last hour, is the first time we've seen any sun since we have been here Thursday afternoon. It's a welcome sight to see sun because this track needs more heat for these tires to work their best.
Yeah, and it was sprinkling sort of an hour or so ago. One of our other races actually got red flagged because of some rain on the track. So the thing is now the sun is baking this place, and these 3 guys now have made that breakaway. They're starting to pull away ever so slightly now from Medina, and you can see Max Van back there just losing touch. So the 3 of DeMario, Bickness, and Dreyer here pulling away ever so slightly. Not really seeing anything light up on the boards as far as split times, Greg, is on the is how fast they're going. So 37.4, fastest lap of the race, and it was the last 2 sectors for Dreyer that drew him into that fastest lap of the race.
So working lap number 6 of 11. Dreyer is leading the way. This isn't really playing into Max Van's hand right now, though, Jay. That's the concern.
Max Van and Medina both just ran really quick first splits. You'll see them, and you see Medina goes down the inside of Max Van there for 4th place. So I'm not sure if there was maybe a mistake made from somebody back there or whatever, but expect those 2 to draw back up on the back. I'm really impressed with Medina. We saw him do some really good things last year. Was always kind of got into the back of the fight in some of the races, and he's doing a nice job so far this year. We saw him in Atlanta roll really well. As you see there, the 39. There's Yandel there, and so far this year he's been up in the front, and he's letting Max Van know, hey, follow me. I think I got some pace to catch up to these guys. It's kind of a thing that we see the kids do a lot in this class.
This race so different in the way you have to manage it compared to a track like Road Atlanta, where these bikes are evenly matched, and it's a lot of drafting and passing, Jay. It's just different the way you have to race it.
Yeah, no, it's a totally different type of thing, and everyone's going for the same spots, but these smaller bikes have a tendency most of the time to use a little bit more racetrack because they can get to places that some of the bigger bikes and things can't get to. So that you're going to see lines like I talked about earlier out of Charlotte's Web or even out of the museum corner. They can just get to places because they don't have the horsepower that's going to be pushing them out into like that last right left. Like if you watch out of here, Greg, later on today, you'll see them go from right to left. There won't even be that much room down the inside. So the small bikes can just go in a few different spots. As Yandel has now closed that gap, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done it on the back of the fastest lap of the race so far, 136.446.
And quickest again in that first split. That seems where he's doing his damage just a little bit. So
the 39, Yandel Medina from the Bronx on the Yandel Racing Ninja 400, making some big moves, trying to close this gap. Can Yandel Medina make his way up to these leading 3 and start to make big moves? See if the 39 can lead later in this race. Into the museum corner we go. 99 Avery Dreyer still leads the way from DeMario on the 70. Hayden Bickness in 3rd place. Yandel Medina 39 in 4th. And there's Max Van hanging back on the 48. And then that group behind them is led by Levy Patty, Rivera, Clark, Moore, Fernandez, all in the mix. You can hear some bikes bouncing off the rev limiter, Jay.
Yeah, we could hear that earlier, and that's basically you come out of that right-hander and you get in the draft of 2 or 3 bikes in front of you, and you'll hear a couple of the bikes that are in that 4th or 5th or 3rd, 4th area. They'll start getting into the limiters, and Medina out really wide there trying to roll his way through there. And look how much roll he was able to keep up through the middle. He's going to get a good run onto the front straightaway and get right up behind Bickness here. as he comes out, he's going to have a 3-rider draft. You can see he's carried that speed all the way from the big long rights, Greg, and he's allowed that speed to carry his momentum down the front straightaway and get a little bit closer. Max Van still has not lost touch with these 4. As you can see there, Max Van goes 36.378. That was his personal best lap of the race, and he ran the fastest last split, did the 48 back there. So Medina looked like he was trying to just jump up the inside. He did. He got up the inside of Bickney's, and Max Van was able to follow through. So,
and Del Medina giving the old follow me. We're going to go to the front signal. But Jay, this is kind of where some of these Junior Cup riders were talking about. The right side of the tire starting to cold tear just a little bit, and so it makes the bike obviously act very weird and feels a little bit slippery, a little bit loose. And so we're in that window where some of these riders were feeling those effects. Doesn't seem to be bothering Avery Dreyer, although we look at those lap times, and Dreyer did his personal best last time around at 136.598, 136.601 for DeMario as well. So these riders all in the 36s. The only one to go under 36 so far this weekend was your pole sitter Dreyer. A 135.940 was the qualifying time.
DeMario looking up the inside again. We got about 4.5 laps to go. And you know the thing, Greg, is this is where practice becomes so important, especially if you know that you're having some degradation from the tires. They're starting to go away. You want to try to hopefully get as many laps as you could in practice and really get used to what that feels like, so that when 3, 4, 5 laps to go, if you start to get that feeling that the tire isn't underneath you as much, you kind of know what to expect. Everybody's going to be fighting that. As you can see DeMario here up the left side. Will he be able to outbrake Dreyer? Dreyer's kind of on the preferred line here. He's going to close that door, let go of the brake, and let it roll through there. Max Van now has made his move on Medina. There you see Medina in 4th. So Max Van slowly but surely moving his way forward.
Hannah?
Talking about Alessandro DeMario, you know, he is the youngest in the field. He's just 14 running up with these guys up front, and he is a true rookie to the class. And I asked him, you know, you like to lead. What is it that you need to do differently this weekend? He said, I need to try to be more patient and just be really consistent with my lap times. And it's funny to think of a 14-year-old that has the skill of patience. I mean, he's still going to school in a classroom on the weekdays. So definitely just working on cultivating those skills from a psychological standpoint, because physically he's really healthy, he's fit, he's in good shape, and he is up for the task ahead of him.
9th grade. He's in 9th grade, and he's out here at Barber Motorsports Park racing with the best the Junior Cup class has to offer.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny because when I came in the booth, Greg says, tomorrow he's in 9th grade, Jason. Yeah, it's pretty wild. 14 years old, out here doing what he's doing, and you know, a lot of kids playing football, baseball, basketball, all those things, and all he's thinking about is getting on the race bike on the weekends and trying to improve his craft the best he can. And I think patience, if you can learn it as young as he is, if you can learn some of that, and I think that'll pay off a long way as he gets older.
Interesting kind of move in the middle of that, what we kind of call the penultimate corner, that 15-16. There's 2 corners there, but Avery Dreyer keeps lifting for a moment every time he's in that corner.
I'm going to look next time because my eyes have always been on Medina there, and you can see they're not quite able to go down the inside of Dreyer down that straightaway. So I'll pay attention a little bit more to what he does there next time I look, Greg, because the young man on the 39, he's quite a bit different than those guys there. He really opens up that turn and lets the bike roll a lot through the middle of it and lets it run out. Now we kind of got this battle. It looks like he wants to try to take it to DeMario as he tries to go down the inside. Not quite there, but Max Van thinks about it too. They're all going to fall back into place. And all the while, Bickness is trying his best to hang on.
As we look at our aerial support provided by Lucas Oil Helicopter, the one thing that's interesting is you don't get the sensation of just how steep downhill that is. That is a very tricky corner, Charlotte's Web, here at Barber Motorsports Park. And it requires a lot of feel, a lot of touch, and a good feeling in the front end.
There's a few corners here at Barber, if you've never been here, that are a little bit tricky. They're going to go through this fast left, right, kind of chicane almost in the back. It's not really chicane, it's just a fast left, right. But then the next left they go into, Greg, is extremely fast, and you can't see the apex as you tip in. So this next turn is a bit tricky. Might not be quite as tricky on these little bikes, but especially as these guys all get older and they graduate to bigger machinery, that turn will look a little bit different to them. So let's see what you're seeing here with Dreyer.
So watching, it's that right there, that little lift, and then he kind of tips it back in. I'm not sure, I was hoping you'd see it It was a little bit of a different shot,
Different
but I'm not
camera
sure.
angle,
Maybe
right?
he's grabbing a little bit of a gear change.
Yeah,
That would be an indicator.
And sometimes they'll do that. And you know, at the beginning of that corner, he's really carrying a lot of speed, so he's got a lot of lean angle and probably accelerating because that does go a little bit back uphill. Then he's probably just standing it up ever so slightly to reset before he tips it into that right. Another good shot here. Medina is able to really put his bike anywhere. He had a really nice run out of here last lap on DeMario. So let's see what happens here.
So we have about a lap and a half to go. And up the inside, Medina trying to find some room. Can't get it done. Gonna lose that rolling momentum. So Avery Dreyer still able to hold on to this lead. So it's Dreyer, Medina there, DeMario, Max Van, Bickneys has kind of lost touch. He's been there, been back a little bit. Then you have Batty, Clark, Moore, Fernandez, Roth, Cunnison, and Lewis. That's Gabby Lewis in 12th place. Danilo Lewis's younger sister.
That's great. I love it.
And she is picking up speed lap by lap in this race in 12th place. But all eyes are on the front, on the 99 of Dreyer.
Yep, and now you will really see because Dreyer runs a
I'm gonna
real
head to the
tight
podium.
right line all through 14, 15, 16, and you'll see Medina, he'll let that thing run a lot. So they'll go through here, and they're going to go up over the top of a tunnel. So you go up over the top here, drop back down. Dreyer's going to keep it nice and tidy and tight all the way through. You see Medina, he's going to let that thing run out there. Where that helps him is here. See, now he can roll up a little bit, get on that same spot. He gets over to the right-hand side of the track, which then allows him to roll through that last left. So we're coming, Greg, to the white flag right now.
All right, so we're on the final lap. In this lead quartet, you have two riders that have won races here in Junior Cup. Max Van's got 3 to his credit. Avery Dreyer, of course, has 2. The last 2 races we've run. So there's a possibility that 1 or 2 of these riders that haven't won could win their first race.
He's got a good run here. Look, he's gonna be able to draft a little bit. See if he puts himself to the left. As they come down there, he's drafting all the way down as Medina, and he's gonna take a shot, Greg.
Here comes Medina trying to get up the inside. He can't get that one done. It affects his drive a little bit, not as much as we thought, but you can see, even from our Lucas Oil helicopter, the rear end of the 39 moving around.
And Dreyer's done a really nice job. I mean, you can see where he's putting his motorcycle. He's going to make it to where people go around the outside of him if they've got to get by. So really, he's got to get down these next 2 straightaways. Out of this next left-right, if he can get a good run out of here, he will probably keep his bike over to the left. You can see him there. He's keeping his bike over to the left-hand side, and he'll probably do the same thing here. Let's see if he stays over to the left. Yep, he is. He's going to make guys go around the outside of him. Medina is trying to have a look, but not close enough.
Final couple corners here at Barber Motorsports Park. Race number 1 in Junior Cup this weekend. The sun is out. Who's it going to shine on as we come through these long right-handers? Looking for room. Medina trying to go around the outside. This sweeping line. The 39 loses traction on the rear end, but goes up the inside. Can't get it done. It's going to be Avery Dreyer onto the front straightaway as the podium positions continue to battle. Riders going for it. It's going to be the 99, 3 in a row, and the hat trick for Dreyer. Max Van able to work his way into second spot. Medina hold on to third, and DeMario will be fourth. What a run by the 99.
Unreal finish, and Medina literally was 1 tire slip away from being able to get up underneath Dreyer in that last corner, but it was that last little bit of throttle that he gave it, Greg. It shot him up out of the seat, and he wasn't quite able to get that done. He ends up losing second place again. Max Van, is that his third second place of the year as well, right? So first and second for the first 2 again.
And our first time this season that we haven't had a Dreyer Max Van Bickneys podium, as Yandel Medina will occupy the final spot on the rostrum. We'll talk to our race winner on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere.
What an absolutely fascinating race, and brilliant defense by Avery Dreyer, but Yandel Medina coming from back, I think 5th at one point, and just worked his way to the front, had Hayden Bickneys work with him. They caught that group, and I'll tell you what, if you're going to give awards for bravery, I think it goes to Yandel Medina. I mean, he really was willing to do about anything, and that move, that attempted move around the outside, he darn near pulled that off.
He almost pulled it off, and even when he tried to make that move going on the inside into that last corner, that kind of killed his drive to be able to try to make that drive to the finish line. But for him, put himself in that right spot, and Max Van probably, wants to win, but he's doing the right thing. He's collecting points every weekend. But any 4 of those guys could have won.
Oh, it was just an absolutely brilliant race, no question about it. Hayden Bickney's ended up in 5th, just a little bit back. Levi Batty there. Great to have him back in the championship. And Rossi Moore, and when Michael talked to him a little bit earlier during his mic on the mic, he talked about running it's one bike and it's a KTM, and not having another teammate, another bike to be able to compare data with, and that they're just chasing it. But for Avery Dreyer, I mean, he had to have one of the great defenses going, and it was clean, and a lot of it was he just answered with speed.
Yeah, he just kind of, shown that experience being in the class for a couple years. He knew where those guys were going to want to try to attack him, and he put his bike there where they couldn't. And, now it's kind of crazy. You go into the race and, but the year, and he hasn't won a race all year, and then now he's won 3 in a row. But you can just see starting here. See how he stays all the way to the left for such a long time. It doesn't let them get that run on him. He's able to put himself on the outside where he wants to be. Once he gets down into the corner, gets a good run out of there. Knowing those guys are going to try to draft him, you kind of see him moving around a little bit, trying to break the draft. But again, staying on this side of the track, making them go the long way if they're going to try to make the pass, and that's the long way around, and it's a lot harder. And through here, also for a young guy like him, not to make a mistake. Leading this last lap, knowing he's got 3 guys on him. Again, just kind of blocking, going through here, knowing that these guys are going to be able to get a good run through the chicane. This is almost wide open for them, and they're going to be able to draft. He's going to stay again on the left side of the track, almost down that straightaway, not leaving a door open. No. There's nowhere for them to pass unless they want to go around the outside. And even here, just continuing to block in this long right-hander, keeping it tight where they can't get up the inside of him through there. You see that, keeping it tight. Yandel Medina tried to go around the outside, but lost a little bit of traction there, and that's what cost him to be close enough to make a move. And
then the chaos here.
See these guys weaving. Scary.
That is spooky, and the guy in that sandwich was Alessandro Di Mario, who had both of them coming around. So that was absolutely crazy. And so looks like we are getting ready for our podium here in short order. And look at that. Can understand that, Gren. Having himself one heck of a run here. Max Van, I think that's, 3 successive second-place finishes. So, yeah, it's been to the same guy, so he's technically losing some points, but he's staying right in that points championship. So, all right, it's time to hear from our winner.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
All right, so looking at the final results for this race, it's going to be Avery Dreyer, who's got half a second over Max Van. Yandel Medina just a 10th behind. Bickney's, Levi Batty, Chris Clark, Rossi Moore, and Fernandez. Let's get right down to Hannah with our winner.
3 in a row for Avery Dreyer. Avery, do you feel like you were kind of able to control the race from the front?
Yeah, I went to the race. I wanted to lead every lap because I felt like I had the pace to possibly break away, but they ended up passing me a few laps into it, and then I ended up getting the drive on Alessandro and just put my head down from there. But, man, the bike felt amazing. Got to thank Dale Quarterly for everything he does. It's amazing how improved I've gotten after I've started working with him. I got to thank Rangelite Tap-In Services, Envy Racing Apparel, KYT Global Racing Oil, SFL MotoGP, and Brevard Superbike. And thanks to all the fans that came out, my family.
Congratulations to Avery Dreyer, today's race winner.
Our standings have Avery Dreyer perfect. 3 races, 25 points per, sitting up top. And Max Van just 15 back because of his 3 second place finishes, and Bickney's and Medina. Jay, good race.
Yeah, great race, and Dreyer's on a roll. Be interesting to see if anybody can do anything about him tomorrow.
And we look forward to seeing what Junior Cup has in store for us. So, great battles all over the racetrack and some very happy people. We can't wait to see you tomorrow for Junior Cup here at MotoAmerica.